For those who are not aware, we have created a Patreon page at patreon.com/Wes Penre. When you have time, please visit it and see what we currently have to offer. If you also decide to sign up, it is much appreciated because it's a great platform for those who want to support our work. With your help, we will be able to continue doing what we're doing and share it with the public. Now, let's go to the questions. Question 1. Do you still get notifications from videos you have done years ago when someone comments? Answer: yes. It doesn't matter which video you comment on. We will get notified about your comments. Good question. Question 2. If someone feels lonely without another, since the other gives them energy, and when this person is in a situation where someone needs help, they say they don't know how to help, and they seem empty. Will this make them a narcissist because they lack empathy? Or is it just them, in which case it's okay? And if a person above has gone through abuse and traumatic events, and this has shaped them to feel the way they do, is it possible that they turned into a narcissist? Even though narcissists are born narcissists, is it possible through intense narc abuse a soul can become a narc? Answer: it depends. In order to really know the difference, you must know the person quite well and have studied narcissism. Empathy is not the ability or willingness to help someone. Empathy is the ability to share a person's emotional state of being. It is the ability to relate to someone's emotions because you have or are experiencing them yourself. Intense narcissistic abuse can certainly contribute to making someone overly narcissistic. We all have narcissistic traits because of this. Besides that, many empathic and good people feel afraid to help because they don't know what to do. It's common. Many are afraid not to be enough, and that their help might be inadequate, and if so, they are afraid to get hurt from feeling worthless. Hence, their subconscious mind freezes, and the person instead does nothing. One way to bypass that would be for the person who needs comfort or help to express to the other exactly what kind of help they want, when the helping person doesn't need to feel so insecure about it. To answer the second part of your question, narcissism is on a sliding scale. If 10 is full-blown narcissism, according to our research, these are the ones who were born that way. But a souled person could still be on a 9 on that scale, which means they've let the traits on the artificial soul take over to such a degree that the real soul is almost in coma and no longer in control. However, it really doesn't matter if a person is a 9 or a 10. If that person does not want to change, there is nothing anyone else can do, and they should both be treated as a 10. Being unwilling or not knowing how to help is not a trait of narcissism. Seen from another perspective, if you are in a position to help someone and that person wants and has asked for your help, then do it. What others choose to do or choose not to do is not up to us. Everyone is free to make their own decisions for their own lives. Question 3. Why do people, especially the younger generation, have multiple crush experiences? Could it be they see twin flame aspects in all of their crushes? Or is it just a normal phase which has no big matter? Answer. Crushes are just the initial stages of attraction, where someone is identifying with an aspect of another person that feels good. We are like magnets, and we are attracted to certain qualities of people that match our frequency at the time. It's a normal phase. But yes, it could be the case that many are subconsciously looking for the twin flame. We don't understand very much about twin flames, but already in puberty or so, when we get interested in intimate relationships, we fantasize about the perfect partner, and we consciously and subconsciously search for someone whom at the most part fills the criteria. The question is, are these fantasies just fantasies, or are they the characteristics of our twin flame? It's interesting to notice that more often than not, the perfect partner we dream of is not to be flawless. Often we are attracted to people that are far from perfect, whatever perfect is, no such thing. Question 4. I am aware that we do have evil emotions in us, in which we have to battle and were implanted within us. But if someone can't help these feelings, like jealousy, anger and sadness, despite them trying their hardest to fight these, is it okay? How could one lessen the intensity of these emotions? Answer. We work on our inner state of being to heal those wounds and insecurities we have that cause us to react in these ways. If you are fighting these emotions, you are in resistance to them, which is in a state of holding on to them. Acknowledge the parts of yourself that are feeling these emotions. Learn why you feel that way. Begin the process of healing them, and they will begin to lessen. They might come back around again, but they will get less and less and more the more you overcome your own fears. When we talk about the world around you being a mirror, this is exactly what we mean. When these things happen, we are being shown those aspects of ourselves that need to be healed. Question 5. Could you elaborate why you are choosing the word Queen and Court? Is the Queen of Orion a pleasant version of Queen Elizabeth? I say this tongue-in-cheek, only a little bit. The word choice of queen, rather than perhaps the word prime creator or source, for example, obviously implies royalty. Royalty implies to me that they are some form of reptilian. Otherwise, outside of the queen and the royalty of Orion, any idea what the others are considered to be? Subjects? Wow, if so, this is so off-putting. Could a case be made that our fires that create our soul are truly from the prime creator? Having said this, is it accurate to consider the prime creator as an entity? I prefer to talk to the singular source, prime creator. I have no idea what to call him, her, and or it, but this is who I talk to. On the other side of the control grid, I will be going to the prime creator and having a good long conversation about universal and multiversal infractions that are going on here within the control grid. I'm not saying I'm right, but boy, am I looking forward to having this conversation, and I will be asking for accountability, mine included. Answer. The reason why I choose Queen and Court is because that's what they are. The problem is that we think of Queen and Court as something negative, because that's usually how it is in this matrix. But remember that here everything is twisted, inverted, copied and reversed. In Orion, Queen is more the term of an overseer, creatrix and an instigator of projects and experiments. She is also assisting beings who are stuck or want education. The court consists of a council with which she can collaborate and bounce ideas, etc. Thinking in human terms, we can completely understand why these terms sound repulsive to you. And you are basically right about Queen Elizabeth. She has appointed herself as the Queen of Orion on Earth. She has no permission to do so, but for some reason she thinks she's entitled. On top of that, she's acting quite opposed to how the real queen is acting. The real queen looks upon star beings, souls, as the most important aspects of the divine there is. Without us, there would be no expansion in the universe. Yes, the fires are from the divine feminine, prime creator. What you call her is entirely up to you. She knows what you mean. Is it an entity? That's one way of looking at it. She's all that is, and we are her. In that sense, everything that exists, including us, is essentially one entity. You also asked about why the Queen or someone won't take down the grid. Question not included in this Q&A session. This has been answered in previous videos. Question 6. Could you elaborate on how and why the Pleiadians and Arcturians are part of the control grid? Is this all of them or only some of them? Answer. Most of those channeled entities are either human military, mischievous astral beings, or aspects of the alien invader force, AIF. There are also beings who have been hijacked from the Ka and held as prisoners of war in different star systems. Some Pleiadians, for example, fall under this latter category. The Arcturians within the Matrix are the AIF. Lucifer's rebellion started in Arcturus. They are the aquatic bird tribe reptilian. We can say with quite some certainty that all the channeled entities are from within the construct. Ka races were not engaged in that. They know better. Question 7. Is it true that we humans have what's been termed junk DNA? Could you first define and explain what your understanding of our DNA that's been shut down or shadowed out? Do you call that junk DNA or not? In one of your answers you mentioned that there really is no such thing as DNA activation. Could you explain this in relation to junk DNA? Answer. Junk DNA is the 96% or so of our DNA that is dormant, and the scientists have no idea what to make of it. All our DNA is already fully active, but we are being distracted in such a way that we have stopped using it. Before the invasion, we used all our DNA. DNA is like light switches. You choose which ones to use at the particular moment you need them. But if we forget that we have more than 5 switches, the other ones will no longer be used. It's all about remembering and realizing that we have them. The 96% of junk DNA is the DNA we need to be connected to the Ka. I am reluctant to call it DNA activation because the DNA is already fully active, but we are not using it. In a spiritually awakening process, we use more and more of it. Question 8. My question is about Isis, Enlil's daughter. In the WPP, you mentioned she realized that she had been manipulated by Enki and has been on the run, maybe hidden. Is there any new data regarding her? For some reason I feel very interested about this side of the events. Answer. We have no information on her current whereabouts, unfortunately. Question 9. In the feud between Enki and Marduk, Enki controls the good side and Marduk the bad side. Is it possible that Enki controls both of the sides? If there are always wars between Enki and his son, and if his son wins the war, still why would Enki risk his golden child, his pride and hope, us and this planet, in his destructive son's hand, and for so long? Answer. There is no absolute answer to the first part of your question. From us having put the puzzle pieces together, it certainly looks like there is infighting between 2 AIF factions, Enki and Marduk. However, there are 2 ways of looking at this. Although this conflict certainly seems to be ongoing, both factions are needed in this reality because the Matrix can only be held together if there is duality. Good versus evil, for example. The feud between father and son is therefore also necessary. Thus we have the choice. Do we want to go to the father, Enki, or the son, Marduk? Both parties are doing their best to win us over to their side. Question 10. In your earlier videos you said that a narcissist has no real or original soul. So if Enki is also a narcissist, how does he have a whole, intact, original divine soul? Answer. He has, is a real soul. He is the origin of narcissism and the archetype of narcissism as a creator. But he is not human and does not have the same makeup that we have. He's an archangel. The narcissists that we must interact with on the planet as humans are those physical bodies in which he has given the animation properties of an artificial soul, reactive, impulsive. He deemed it necessary to implant his own soul aspects into this experiment, and those narcissists that we deal with are the result of this creation. We all have these aspects as part of our makeup now, but for some, they only have the artificial soul through which to experience this reality. We also have our original spiritual qualities that we have had from the beginning. The ancient texts clearly describe that there are at least 2 different types of souls, or types of humans. Up to this point, this is as much as we figured out. Enki is acting like a classic covert narcissist, while Marduk is the overt one. Question 11. Does Enki operate this reality outside of this physical universe? Answer. Both. He controls this reality mainly from outside, i.e. from another density, but he also interacts with 3D by occasionally incarnate here. However, the latter is rare these days. He usually sends his son, Thoth/Hermes, in his place, when he wants to directly interact with humanity. Question 12. Since this universe is a reflection of the spiritual one, will we be able to know the difference between the spiritual and Enki's universe after we die? Answer. Yes. The real universe, Ka, does look very different from what we've seen on NASA photos. Enki copied 4% of the universe. Depending on the individual soul's progression, we will all perceive the Ka slightly different, but overall, you will notice that what we call space will be more or less filled. Also, the Ka looks like a spider web, where each string is a cosmic highway between celestial bodies. Question 13. If we raise our consciousness and recognize the power of our mind, then the 5G or nanobots will not have any effects or hence cannot control our mind? Answer. Correct. It's up to the individual. The solution to the 5G nanobot problems lie in how we deal with our own spiritual potentials. No one can control our minds if we refuse to be controlled. Stay focused on that which you conclude being the true you and your purpose, and don't let technology engulf you. It's a choice, basically. Question 14. If beings have both feminine and masculine energies present in them, then how is the soul only feminine? Answer. Because our soul is an aspect, a fractal of Source. Source is feminine in nature as the energetic movement that enables creation. Some say that Source is both feminine, creation, and masculine, destruction. But we say that before there can be anything to destroy, it must first be created. Creation happens as a beginning to all things. Therefore it stands to reason that the divine feminine was the beginning of all things. While we contain both aspects of this type of energy, it would be a mistake to assume that because things are this way with humans, it must be so with the divine and the rest of the universe. This is not accurate in our opinion. Not all beings embody both energy types, and some have more than these two. Our understanding of the universe can only be perceived from a human standpoint and from human experience. Masculine and feminine energy are not the only types of energy that exist. This is just our experience here. We need to be willing to open our minds to the possibility that things do not work in the universe the way they work here for humans. We are very, very unaware and inexperienced as to what exists beyond ourselves.